Okay, so what if I told you to forget everything you know about browsing the web? Because OpenAI just dropped something called ChatGPT Atlas. And it's not just another browser, another window to the internet. It's a completely new way of thinking about how we interact with it. The big question is, could this be the thing that finally takes on the giants?
And look, I know that sounds like a huge claim, right? But it's not just hype. We are talking about a direct shot at Google Chrome's throne, a throne it's been sitting on for over a decade. This isn't just a new competitor, it's a potential earthquake for the entire web, and the stakes are, frankly, massive.
So what is ChatGPT Atlas really? Let's take a first look at this new challenger. We're going to see what it feels like to use it and really try to figure out if this is just, a new coat of paint on an old idea, or if it's a genuine leap forward. Now, the very first thing you notice when you open it up is how familiar it all looks. You've got your tabs up top, your bookmarks, even an incognito mode. OpenAI was really smart about this. They clearly want this to feel like an easy switch. You can even import all your history and settings from Chrome with a single click. They want you to feel at home right away.
So you're probably wondering, how do I get my hands on this? Well, it's available worldwide right now. The catch? It's Mac only for now, but they're promising Windows and mobile versions are on the way. The basic browser itself is totally free, but the really futuristic feature, this thing called Agent Mode, well, that's going to require their $20 a month subscription.
But don't let that familiar look fool you, because that's just the surface. The real magic, the revolution, is happening underneath the hood. This isn't a browser that just has ChatGPT bolted on. ChatGPT is the engine. It's the core of the whole experience. And it all starts with something as simple as the address bar. It's not just for websites anymore. It's now this unified command bar. You can type in a web address, sure, but you can also just ask it a question like, how many R's are in the word strawberry? Or give it a complex prompt. The entire goal here is to make going to Google a completely unnecessary step. And then there's this incredible context-aware sidebar. Just imagine you're on some super long, dense article. Instead of slogging through it, you just click a button, and a little ChatGPT panel slides out that already knows everything on the page. You can just ask it, hey, summarize this for me in bullet points. Or if you're shopping, how does this camera compare to its main rival? You never have to open another tab. Okay, this is where it starts to feel a little bit like science fiction. Browser memory. Atlas actually remembers your browsing history and all the conversations you have with it. It basically builds a personal search engine of your own brain's activity. And yes, before you ask, for all of us who care about privacy, you can absolutely turn this feature off.
And here's a perfect example of just how powerful that is. The reviewer just vaguely asked about some tools he'd been looking at the day before, and boom, Atlas instantly searched its own memory and pulled up the exact names. I mean, think about that. It's like never forgetting an interesting website ever again.
But believe it or not, all of that, it's just the opening act. The main event, the real showstopper, is something called Agent Mode. This is where the browser stops being a tool you use and starts being an assistant that does the work for you. Getting it going is actually pretty simple. You pop open the sidebar, you flip on Agent Mode, and you give it a job to do. Once you say go, you can literally just lean back in your chair and watch as a second mouse cursor appears on your screen and starts clicking, typing, and navigating all on its own. It's wild to see.
So just how good is it? Well, in the first test, the user just asked it to check their Google Calendar. The little agent cursor went to the site, logged in, and came back with a perfect summary of the schedule for the next week. Test 1, total success.
But then they tried something a little trickier, buying something on Amazon. And here, the agent was a lot slower, a lot more careful. It kind of got tripped up by one of the buttons. And, this is important, as a safety feature, it added the item to the cart, but stopped right before hitting the final purchase button.
And this really gets to the heart of what Agent Mode is for. Yeah, for one simple task, it's still way faster to just do it yourself. But that's not the point. The vision here is about multitasking on a massive scale. The idea is you could give the agent 10 different things to do online and just let it work in the background while you go do something else.
All right, so after this first look, what's the early verdict? Let's try to break down the good, the not so good, and some of the, pretty serious concerns that pop up when you have a tool this powerful.
So on the good side, the interface is super clean. That memory feature is a legitimate game changer, and the sidebar is actually really useful.
On the not-so-good side, yeah, the agent is still pretty slow for basic stuff. There are some pretty obvious security questions, and locking the coolest feature behind a paywall, well, that's going to be a tough sell for some.
So what about its biggest rival, Perplexity Comet? Well, in a pretty cool party trick, Atlas actually generated this comparison table itself, and it sees the main difference like this. Atlas is chat first. It's all about the conversation, while Perplexity is research first, laser-focused on finding information.
And this brings us back to the biggest red flag of all, security. There's this concept called prompt injection. Basically, a malicious website could hide instructions in its code that you can't see, but the AI agent can. It could trick the agent into doing things you never asked for. It is a massive, massive problem they're going to have to solve.
So let's zoom out for a second, because this is so much bigger than just a new product. The arrival of AI-native browsers like Atlas isn't just an update. It really feels like a fundamental turning point for the internet itself.
And hey, if you need proof, just look at the stock market. During the OpenAI live stream where they announced this, Google stock dropped 3%. Wall Street saw this, and they immediately understood that this is a serious threat to Google's entire business model.
What we're witnessing here is a whole new layer being built on top of the internet. We're moving from a world where we have to manually click and type and search to a world where we just talk to an AI partner that does all of that heavy lifting for us.
And that shift, it creates this huge domino effect with massive questions. I mean, if an AI just summarizes an article for you, why would you ever visit the website? And if you don't visit the website, what happens to the ad revenue that keeps most of the internet running? How do creators get paid? This could totally upend the web's entire business model.
Which really just leaves us with this one big thought to chew on. AI agents are no longer science fiction, they are here on our desktops right now. The question isn't if our relationship with the internet is going to change. The question is how we're all going to adapt when it does. And are we even ready for it?